Hey everyone, me Kevin here. Boy oh boy, you're gonna get your life insurance and your 2 free stocks after this one because this is a pain in the butt. The Hill just ran an article saying Senate Democrats pump brakes on new stimulus. This is very frustrating because they're totally blowing this out of proportion, but I want to break it down because what they are referencing is also frustrating. Let's go into this and see how disconnected Congress is from us as humans and Americans and try to understand what's actually going on and use this information to kind of update our beliefs to come to a conclusion to, what we think we might actually be able to expect. So here we go. This is the article. I'll tell you, it's definitely on the frustrating side, but let's go through it. So they reference here Senator Ben Cardin, who is on the Senate Finance Committee, and he says that he wants the next round of coronavirus relief to be more focused on households that have been hardest hit by the economic downturn. Well, statistically, we know that the people who are hardest hurt are the people who are making the least amount of money. And the stimulus checks were a great way at sort of, putting a line and saying, all right, everybody who makes less than $75,000 gets a stimulus check. Make less than $100,000, you get kind of a reduced stimulus check. It seemed to be an easy way to kind of determine that. But let's keep that in mind and let's see what else they say, because he's interested in focusing on fairness and getting money to people who are really hurt. Well, I think the reality is a lot of people are really hurt, and the easiest way to solve this is with direct payments, which he did say that direct payments made more sense in March when Congress wanted to get money out of the door as quickly as possible. Yet, quickly as possible also still did take until like April 15th to, for some people, another month after that. It's taken quite a while to actually get these out. But anyway, apparently there seems to be this growing focus on having a stimulus bill that's more targeted. And the reality is, every single day that goes by where we don't have a debate yet on more stimulus, the more and more we're possibly going to see this next round of stimulus get watered down and watered down. So it makes sense that they're saying they want it to potentially be more targeted, because every day that goes by, that sense of urgency goes away. We focus more on Twitter wars and China than on really helping the people who need it the most right now. And it certainly doesn't help that Republicans are kind of saying, hey, you know what? We're really not planning on seriously negotiating this next round of stimulus until the end of June, which means we're not going to see any kind of bill actually pass until probably mid-July, realistically. So when we go to the next page, we actually see another Senate Democrat, Senator Wyden, who says that another round of direct payments are not his top priority. Instead, he wants to focus on fixing other problems, having a more narrow bill, and maybe expanded unemployment benefits, which is really interesting because yesterday we talked about how Republicans are focused on more unemployment benefits and narrowly focusing the next stimulus package related to unemployment, about that $450 per week back to work bonus. Heck, Senator Wyden even introduced a plan that would create a stabilizer that would say, hey, we'll keep the $600 per week of unemployment until average unemployment falls below a certain percent, and then the unemployment would drop by $100 every week for every percentage point decline in the state's joblessness. It's an interesting idea, and it kind of gives you that automatic stabilizer, which we've been talking about in other videos. But I'll tell you, the fact that this article is saying that skepticism in the Senate is growing around the next round of potential relief checks is not very good. And they only potentially happened because Donald Trump said, hey, you know what? Let's do stimulus checks the first time around. And that led Senate Republicans to rally around the idea of more stimulus checks. So this is really interesting. Let's try to put these pieces of the puzzle together. If Donald Trump is the one who pushed for stimulus checks the last time, there's a good chance it's going to be up to Donald Trump to lead the Senate to the next round of stimulus. Now, we know that Donald Trump is not opposed to another round of stimulus, but we also know that him, Kevin Hassett, and Larry Kudlow, people around Donald Trump, are all suggesting, look, Donald Trump's not opposed to another round of stimulus checks, but he's really interested in a payroll tax cut, and maybe we're seriously considering this back-to-work credit, where you get $450 a week if you go back to work, to incentivize people to work. Well, where does that leave us now? Well, I would say right now, every single day that goes by that we don't see a negotiation on this next HEROES Act reduces the chance of anything resembling that actually happening. And so this is where if I asked myself, what would the bill look like if it were passed June 15th? What would be in it? I would not be surprised if we do get the extra $1,200 round of stimulus. But with this kind of contention, pretty much recurring payments, dead. $2,000 a month, you're dead. The $1,200 stimulus check now has an asterisk on it. That's not good. Now I feel like with this latest info here, these latest kind of insights into what the Senate is feeling, next round of stimulus might only have a 70% shot at it now, maybe even as low as 60%. That's not great. But what's starting to seem more like 90% of a reality is this back to work credit, or some kind of boost to how much money you make if you're working. For example, the payroll tax credit. If you make a $50,000 salary, that means, prorated over the year, you would make about an extra $3,400 by working. That's actually more money than the $1,200 stimulus check. It's just more complicated. Like, do you get paid more? That would apply to all workers, which would be good. How do people who are on disability and retirement get benefits from this? So there are a lot of unanswered questions, but everything right now seems to be narrowing focus on payroll tax credits, which again, as much as that's annoying and frustrating, would net workers more money than another round of stimulus. So on one side, it's frustrating, but on the other hand, it's actually potentially good, and potentially more people would qualify for the payroll tax credit, and then stimulus checks would. We'll see. And that back to work credit of $450 a week, or potentially $600 a week, or $200 a week as a boost for going back to work, or maybe you already being at work, that seems to have like an 80+% chance likelihood right now as well. So there's the latest as of Friday, May 29th in terms of what's most likely right now. Payroll tax credit, an additional maybe back to work boost for some, hopefully everybody. Payroll tax credit would end up hopefully netting us more money, but it won't be as simple as stimulus checks. But this is not good news, and to me, it really feels like our Senate has totally disconnected from reality and from how we feel as humans and individuals and citizens of the country. You'd think they would act faster. But I will say, yesterday when I posted the video about the bill the House passed, about the changes to the PPP, that was a big red flag that they didn't try to include any kind of stimulus checks in that. And that was the House. That's a problem. So yeah, seriously, go to the links below, get life insurance, 2 free stocks with Webull when you deposit $100, and check out my programs because that coupon code is expiring. Oh, and Lauren posted another vlog, so check out Lauren's vlog. Thank you so much for watching, folks, and we'll see you next time.